Elder daughter shattered my trust when her neglect led to her sister's assault, and now I'm struggling to forgive her. I'm a widow and have 3 children, but in this post I'll be focused on my 2 youngest daughters, Leah, F14, and Maya, F18. Fake names off course. For little background, Leah was raped by 4 men back in December. How this incident accrued was Maya threw a party while I was working the night shift, and 4 of the boys that were attendants at this party assaulted Leah. It's been devastating to say the least. Leah has lost all of her spark and quit cheer. Plus on top of it, she opted out of her freshman year by just continuing to do courses online. She doesn't sleep in her room anymore but with me and just wears my late husband's hoodies all day, and I feel so helpless as a mother because I don't know how I can help her. Throughout the investigation a lot of things came out regarding Maya's part in this. She did not set up her little sister, however I feel like she severely neglected her, and all of this could have been avoided if she just followed my rules. I never approved a party. I left in her charge of watching Leah, and before you guys say well you're her mother, it's not her job to watch your kid, but the thing is, it was her job. I pay her really well to look after her sister while I work nights. It's been an agreement we had for years. Leah is not special needs in any way. The only thing I asked of Maya is that she makes sure her sister does her homework and gets to bed at a reasonable time. The men that assaulted Leah, Maya invited herself. She knew them personally and knew they had affiliates to gangs and did not care. Instead, what I found out in this investigation, she tried to put Leah with one of these boys and Leah was not interested. This boy was harassing Leah all night, trying to get her to kiss him. Then Leah had enough and went to her room, and the moment Maya left the house to go to McDonald's, that same boy and his friends went up to my daughter's room and raped her. The worst part about this to me is that people that were at the party heard her yelling and did not do anything but just assumed a couple was arguing upstairs. We didn't know what happened until the next morning when the party was over. Having her do a rape kit was traumatizing for her and probably the worst moment as a parent for me. Then couple weeks later she tested positive for a curable STD. My baby has been so broken ever since, even though they did get those boys and all 4 pleaded guilty because they had evidence on their phone. But it's still so extremely hard for Leah right now. Maya on the other hand has been remorseful, and Leah has no animosity towards her and doesn't blame her, still loves her sister. But I don't know why for me I'm so angry at Maya, and I've been really trying to forgive her but I can't as of now. I can't even look at her without not wanting to lash out. Her prom is next weekend and I honestly couldn't care less. She tries to have conversations with me, but it's hard for me to show any interest in them. I don't hate my daughter, I still love her. But I just have strong dislike for her right now. I've been reading self-help books trying to learn how to address this properly. I feel like I can't open up to anyone about this in life. I guess this may be cry for help as a mother. Edit, thank you for all the feedback. The most repetitive question I'm seeing is if Maya still watches Leah? The answer is hell no. I don't trust her anymore and it might take years to get it back. I'm on a leave of absence currently. Also, Leah is not therapy as of right now. She expressed to me she's not ready for that. I think after the sentencing she might be open to it. Maya is also in therapy but skips a lot of appointments, and I'm in therapy too, and it's been helping me remain calm throughout this situation and not want to lash out at Maya. But the number one advice that I'm seeing in here that I'm strongly considering is sending Maya to my parents' house, for a while, and get some space from her. Sorry, quick second edit. For the ones asking if Maya is in a gang, to my knowledge she isn't. The most I have ever caught her doing was smoking some pot and vaping. I also don't want to think Maya would ever intentionally set up her sister to be brutally assaulted. So I'm leaning towards Maya genuinely was being plain neglectful that night. Also, I feel like it would have came up in the investigation if she intentionally set up Leah. Also, the boy Maya was trying to set Leah up with was 17 at the time. He's 18 now and the other 3 were grown men. Update 1. To answer multiple questions I received from my last post about why hasn't Maya been further punished. To put it quite simply, Maya was arrested the night of Leah's attack. She was charged with felony child endangerment and 2 misdemeanors. The judge was very nice to her and made her pay a $2,000 fine, 60 hours of community service and 3 years probation. Plus I took her car, but after this update, I maybe should have given her a harsher punishment. But back to the update. TLDR at the bottom. On Thursday afternoon, me and Maya got into a fight. The dispute happened because Leah came to me virtually upset and on the verge of tears. Because 5 people messaged her that day, expressing condolences about her attack. Leah has been very clear she doesn't want anyone that she knows to know that she was the victim of the attack. Upon further investigation, it turns out Maya told a group chat of 27 people that Leah was the victim. Leah vocalized to me how humiliated she feels and that she can't ever go back to school next year. I of course then go confront Maya about it. She kept saying I was overacting and that Leah was being dramatic. I tried to reason with her to see how she hurt her sister and she did not see the issue. She stopped me off mid-lecture from me and said, "Jesus Christ, Mom, you need to let her deal with this shit instead of always rushing to her defense. Leah is not different from there are women in the world that deal with rape, at least they don't make it their entire personality like she does. Also, she's fine." I literally overheard her talk to a boy on the phone last night. It just clicked for me at that moment that she was not actually remorseful at all and that I just witnessed her mask slip. I just responded with "pack your shit up" and that she will be staying with my parents until I allow her back. That's exactly what she did. But the next morning I got a text from Maya to meet her at her therapist appointment that was later that day. Looking back, I wish I had never gone because her therapist majority of the visit only saw her POV, but at the start of the appointment, it opened up with Maya apologizing and explaining her thought process of why she told her friends, and it was because she was venting. Plus she didn't think of it as a big deal because it's public case that was on the news and Leah seems fine these days. Leah is listed as a Jane Doe and not named nowhere, but I digress. We then get into the nitty-gritty of it all. Maya then tells me in front of the therapist that she feels emotionally neglected by me and that I never seemed to care about her trauma when it came to the situation. Which is for her is having to stay in jail for a weekend and losing one of her friends, which is one of Leah's literal rapist. I wish I can say I'm joking, but I'm dead serious. We were talking about that for the first 30 minutes. Her therapist was guilt-tripping me for not being more emotionally there for Maya and that I should try to see as her mom since their father is no longer with us. But call me an awful parent, but I don't want to be emotionally there for Maya if it involves me having to help her mourn the friendship of the person that ruined her sister's life. The therapist was on one especially since she kept referring to what happened to Leah as an accident or that Leah seems happier these days because that's what Maya has been telling her. And Leah is quite literally high off antidepressants and still scores extremely low on the mental health evaluation. But I finally just had an outburst. Feel free to skip over the next paragraph, because there is a massive trigger warning. I get very graphic here. But I'm just reiterating what I said. What I said to both Maya and her therapist was, I think it's kinda disgusting that the two of you are refusing to acknowledge Leah's trauma in this and keep referring to it as an accident. You spent a weekend in jail, while your sister was in the hospital suffering from something your friend did to her. Ironically enough, if you ever listen to Leah, she has said that friend of yours was the most violent towards her during the attack and was the catalyst for the majority of injuries she sustained, including strangling her. So for you guys to sit here and berate me for not caring that you lost your friend because of something terrible your friend did to your sister is absolutely disgusting. My biggest regret right now is helping you obtain a lawyer. I should have let you rot in that cell and let you figure it out yourself. Maya started sobbing in the office at this point and saying it wasn't fair that I blamed her for what happened to Leah. She told me the only thing she was trying to do was have Leah come out of her shell because she kept hovering next to her at the party. The therapist then interjects and asks Maya how did Leah respond to her when she apologized. Maya in such a defensive manner says, apologize for what? I didn't rape her. Even the therapist was shocked when she said that, and at that point, I heard enough and stood up, threw my hands up, and left. I haven't spoken to Maya since then, and this was Friday afternoon. Maya has been texting me and calling me begging to come home so she can apologize to both me and Leah. But I don't know at this point. I never thought I would be that parent that will have to go no contact with my daughter. But I don't know if I can stomach being around her. I can't trust her and she's not remorseful whatsoever about what happened. A part of me wants to try to make it work for the sake of Leah because she asked yesterday if she ruined our family. And that broke my heart. Leah loves and looks up to Maya and I don't think she can comprehend at this time that Maya also failed her. I'm just stuck, or tell me if I'm wrong for not understanding Maya. I'm sorry for the not so happy update. So I should say what happened that morning at this point. I come home at 8:30ish am from work and my house was trashed and couple of Maya's friends were still there. I of course argued with Maya for a bit about throwing a party and then I go check on Leah and she wasn't in her room but her sheets were bloody, so I thought maybe it was time of the month and that she was showering or sleeping in my bed. But when I checked my room I did not see her. I started calling Leah and her phone did ring and I heard it come from my closet. It's a walk-in, and I see her wrapped in a blanket like a cocoon. I then shake her to wake up and she wasn't waking up and I then try to unwrap and that's when I noticed her scalp bleeding and I saw abrasions around her neck. So I started screaming someone call 911 and Leah starts waking up in the ambulance and she starts crying and the first thing she told me is Maya's friend raped her and that she can't get up because she's in so much pain. When the police and ambulance show up and I honestly didn't care about Maya in that moment, all I told her was to be honest with the police and she should be fine. I didn't know what I know now at this point. They take her to precinct and the cops interrogated her and after getting a medical report for what happened to Leah, they decided to charge her with child endangerment. I did not see Maya's reaction to when they told her about what happened to Leah. But when she saw Leah once she got out of jail she gave her a big hug and I thought it a sweet moment. The only red flag that stands out to me from that time is, Maya did not cooperate fully about giving out names because she said she forgot. Luckily DNA results from the crime scene and on Leah, which all 4 of Leah's rapists were already in the system for other crimes. One even being on probation, so they were easy to find and it was dominoes effect after that. So my oldest is my son. He got married a month before everything went down and I didn't want to drag him in too much about Maya, because I want him to enjoy the newlywed phase with his wife. Him and his wife are very supportive and his wife takes Leah all the time for sleepovers or just to get her out of the house. Update 3. I know I'm probably not alone with dealing with this, but my daughter, F14, has been so extremely depressed, rightfully so. She went through 2 traumatic events in the span of 4 years at her young age. She was sexually assaulted back in December and she lost her dad 4 years ago. I just remember when I was 14 I felt like the world was against me and I had both of my parents on my side and I never been through an assault, so I can't comprehend what she's going through right now. This morning I overheard her crying in the bathroom and I asked her if she was fine and she quickly said she's okay. It just makes me feel so helpless as her mom that I can't help her or take away any of that pain she's feeling. I can't even fully relate to her. Because I haven't been sexually assaulted before and both my parents are still alive. So I feel like I'm a horrible mom because I can't guide her and help her with the situation at hand. I feel like as a mom I should have all the answers and I don't. I just know in her head every time I try to comfort her she thinks, what is this woman talking about, because I feel like I don't know what I'm talking about 99% of the time. So any other moms that can relate, please drop some helpful tips. I have 3 kids, M24, F18, and F14. My late husband died very unexpectedly 4 years ago due to COVID. He didn't have a will, but we had a life insurance policy that provided a $360,000 death benefit. As his spouse, I received the full amount. I decided to divide the money 4 ways. I would get $120,000, and each of my 3 kids would get $80,000. At the time, my daughters were both minors, so I told them they could access their full amount when they turned 18. However, if they ever wanted to do something pricey, I would allow them to use some of their share. Most of their needs were taken care of by me. My son was over 18, so I gave him his share right away. This arrangement was a verbal agreement, and I intended to follow through with it fully. Recently, however, my middle daughter, we will call her Maya, was arrested in December for child endangerment because she severely neglected her little sister, leading to something awful happening under her care. She had to use some of her $80,000 to pay for lawyer and court fees, which left her with about $65,000. Fast forward to today, and my youngest daughter is still struggling significantly. During her checkups, she scores very low on mental health evaluations and is on a high dosage of antidepressants. She often jokes that if she were to tell us or the doctors how she truly feels, she would be put in a psych ward. Maya no longer lives with us as I felt her presence was doing more harm than good to her sister. She's staying with my parents for now but has been begging me to give her the money I promised after she graduated. I've been hesitant to do so. My sister, who is familiar with the situation, believes Maya doesn't deserve the money and that I should use it to stay home longer with my youngest, who will be alone during the day once I return to work soon. With my youngest declining mental health and school being out, I'm very worried about her. Maya is about to go off to college, and I know most of the money would go toward that. However, I'm still very angry with Maya for the pain she caused her sister. I'm having a hard time making this decision. So, wth if I kept her inheritance? Edit, I didn't expect so many comments but I'm reading through all them. To the ones that are asking what would husband say if he was here. I honestly don't know, that's why I'm conflicted. A part of me want to think he would honestly say for me to give Maya the money so she go to college, because college was important to him. But also another part of me knows if he heard the details about what happened to Leah he would be way brutal than I am and disown her permanently, so it's hard to make a call on what would he want when I don't know. Update 4. My daughter Leah, F14, has been having a tough time with the aftermath of her rape last December. This past week has been particularly the worst for us. It started last Tuesday when a sheriff and another official visited our home. They informed us that one of Leah's rapists, the one who filmed the assault, had shared the video within a group, and now it's circulating on parts of the dark web. The video was filmed in Leah's room. It contained identifiable objects that revealed where she went to school. I was devastated upon hearing this news. Leah's reaction surprised me. She didn't cry or show much emotion. Instead, she simply shrugged and said, "I figured," before just sitting there in silence. The officials reassured us that it's uncommon for perpetrators to surface in such cases, but they felt obligated to inform us for safety reasons. After they left, Leah resumed acting as if nothing had happened, almost overly cheerful. I attempted to discuss it with her several times, but she avoided the topic. This behavior persisted throughout the week until she unexpectedly revealed that she had written a victim impact statement and wanted to read it herself in court, rather than allowing the prosecutor to do so. She felt that since there was no trial, only the charges against the rapist were known, not the details of what she endured. Her statement is a detailed account of that horrific night, but she has yet to read it to me in its entirety because she breaks down in tears every time she tries. That moment was the only time I saw her express emotion all week, until Saturday night. That evening, Leah appeared unusually cheerful again and mentioned going to bed early around 8 p.m. I didn't think much of it until I received a call from one of Leah's closest friends' mother. She was concerned because Leah's last message to her daughter was a note expressing love and asking her to check on her. I rushed to Leah's room and found she had attempted to overdose on ZQuil. As a nurse, I knew she would recover, but seeing her wake up in the hospital was heartbreaking. She screamed, "Why couldn't you just let me die? I want to die, Mom. I'm tired of feeling their hands on me. I want it to stop. Please let me die." They had to sedate her to calm her down. Following this, Leah was placed under a 72-hour psychiatric hold and subsequently transferred to a mental health facility with peers her age. The staff recommended extending her stay beyond the initial hold, but Leah has been struggling, especially with a male staff member, possibly a psychiatrist, who she says is asking invasive questions about her sexuality, causing discomfort. Staff members informed me she isn't participating in group activities and appears standoffish. They even proposed restricting her ability to contact me as a consequence, though I requested they hold off on implementing such measures. I'm uncertain if the current inpatient setting is suitable, given Leah's apparent difficulty adjusting. Her plea for her to die continues to haunt me. It's a thought I can't shake. Leah's best friend shared additional details Leah had kept from me. There's a hurtful rumor circulating that Leah let a train be ran on her, leading to her involving the police out of embarrassment. Children can be so incredibly cruel. As far as my other daughter, Maya, F18, I haven't spoken to her in 2 weeks. But I did recently discover why Leah feels indebted to her. 2 years ago, I found inappropriate messages on Leah's phone between her and Maya's ex-boyfriend. He expressed love for Leah, and also compared her to Maya. He told her she was way prettier than Maya and he liked she was her virgin. When I told Maya, she was furious and broke up with him, but she believed Leah had betrayed her by engaging with her boyfriend. Even though Leah was 12 at the time and her boyfriend was 17. Maya still avoided Leah for 3 months afterward, and despite Leah's efforts to apologize, Maya still holds a grudge. Leah blames herself for damaging their relationship because of this incident. I'm sharing this to get this off my chest. I've kept these struggles within our family to protect my daughters. I'm exhausted, constantly dealing with new challenges, and unsure how to mend them. Now, I find myself in the difficult position of deciding whether Leah is mentally prepared to speak at her rapist's sentencing. I fear she'll resent me for this decision, but I question if she's in a stable enough state to handle a potential traumatic event. Because these boys actually have character witnesses. Update 5. More information on the psych, so I talked to Leah further about what the psych said to her make her uncomfortable. She told me when I left they made her sit down with him one-on-one. To basically debrief why she was there and what's causing her to have these thoughts, and she opened up to him and told her about the rape. However, he asked her if this was her only sexual experience and she told him yes. But he kept questioning her like he didn't believe it was her only experience and saying to her that he won't tell me if it wasn't, that she can say it, and she kept having tell him no, that was her only experience. Then he asked about her sexuality, if she's still attracted to men, and she just told him that she doesn't think about relationships right now. She just said that she felt weird about him asking a lot of questions about her sex life. When it was just those two alone in a room with the door closed. I'm not gonna accuse the psych of being a creep, because maybe he was simply doing his job, but I feel like he should have known to have a female staff ask her those questions. Or just have a woman present. He had have seen her chart before he seen her. Now on to second story. Asked the charming mechanic for his number under the guise of car issues. Now we're meeting for a romantic walk. After having virtually no human contact, in the sense of a relationship, for 2 years, I asked a man for his number. He worked as a car mechanic where I went once for a problem with my car. He was really sweet and I could tell he tried to explain it as simply as possible and answer all my questions and doubts without making me feel stupid. After I left the mechanic, I kept thinking about him, because it's not every day you meet someone who's patient and doesn't treat you like you're clueless just because you're a woman and not familiar with cars. A few days went by and I started to put the whole thing behind me until my car decided to start causing problems again. Instead of being annoyed, my first thought was, this must be a sign from God who wants me to see him again. I couldn't help but smile at how dumb it sounded in my head at first, but TBH I was glad for the damage. So I took my car back to the same car mechanic. When I walked in, he immediately recognized me and smiled, which made me feel a lot less awkward. We talked about the car issue again, and after he was done explaining what needed to be fixed, I finally decided, could I maybe get your number so I can give you a call if the car keeps giving me problems? Just in case, he then smiled and said of course and entered his number into my phone. I gave it a ring just to be sure. I wanted to be sure that it really is his number. A few days late, I received a message and it was him. He wrote, just checking in to see if your car is behaving. We ended up chatting for a bit, and then after some while he finally asked if I'm down to go for a walk with him. We've arranged to meet on Tuesday after both our work days because the weather is supposed to be nice. I'm really excited about it. Update 1. He didn't intentionally break my car to see me again. I'm 98% sure about that one. The way I asked for his number had a sarcastic undertone that I probably wasn't able to convey effectively in the text. But in real life, with emotions and whatnot, he understood clearly that I didn't ask for his number to just have a car mechanic's number in my contacts list. Nope, no let him hit or give him a thank you BJ after the date. Thankfully we don't have US hookup culture here. Alright, now to the fun part we are all here for, the weather. So, after much anticipation, our date day finally came. Of course, the weather forecast was once again a lie, and instead of a sunny and, relatively, warm day, it was cold and windy. So instead of going for a walk we switched things up and went to a cozy little cafe. We ordered some puff pastry pie and we both sipped on some hot black tea. Believe me when I say that the best conversations are held while drinking Turkish black tea. There were some awkward moments at first, which is totally natural I guess, but as we kept talking and telling about our lives, the conversation kept flowing more and more naturally. We talked about everything from our jobs to random life stories. He told me a bit about his family and how he ended up as a mechanic, and I shared some of my own weird and funny work experiences. What struck me most was how honest and sincere he was with himself, and he actually listened with interest to what I was saying. After like 2 hours, we finally decided to get up and start our way back. He walked me back to my car, still running fine, No car trouble this time, and after some L words and a promise for a second date we said goodbye and hugged each other. Now, while writing this text and thinking about the day with him still makes me giggle like a little schoolgirl with a huge crush. I'm really glad that I asked for his number.